O'Sullivan and Eva Santina Evans. Welcome back to both of you. So we have dealt with Prince Andrew, we feel, in the last hour and yesterday. We should reflect on the fact that once again he's all over the front pages, even though the hope, no doubt, from the palace would be that stripping him of his titles would take him out of the news. However, we're going to move on to some of the other stories which have perhaps been slightly eclipsed by that in the last few days. And Sasha, you're kicking us off with the Sunday Telegraph and a sign here that the build-up to the budget is beginning already, even though it's over a month away.
The moment party conference finished, everyone started thinking about the budget, and apparently Tony Blair was as well, because he was talking in a book, and it's not clear if he knew the book was coming out a month before the budget, because he's come out saying that the Chancellor Rachel Reeves needs to cut the top rate of tax 40p, and Rachel Reeves's whole message has been that the broadest shoulders need to carry the most burden, and Tony Blair is saying, well, apparently they already carry too much, and this is a really interesting, I think, split between Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves and Tony Blair, who has been, you know, a really helpful advisor behind the scenes for the current Labour government, because they haven't had that kind of institutional knowledge of how to run things. And they've really leaned on former Blair advisors, in Number 10, but also, you know, across government. And I think it's a kind of interesting moment where Tony Blair has decided to use his voice in a way that, you know, perhaps other former Prime Ministers have said. Gordon Brown has come out talking about gambling taxes, for example. And Blair is saying that by cutting taxes, you will get more growth. And this is going to cause real problems for Rachel Reeves, who is trying to convince them that, in fact, we need to do the opposite.
Yes, that's right. And in fact, this story that we're seeing here is a different story in the Telegraph, which I think we'll come to in a minute. The one that you were referring to is on the front page. Cut 40p tax rate, Blair urges in break with Reeves. And this isn't great timing, is it? As we say, it's an interview for a book which is due to come out shortly. So he wasn't necessarily thinking specifically about this budget. It was more broadly about what he thinks works economically. But it's not going to be that helpful for the Chancellor.
No, and also I think we are a bit oversaturated with Tony Blair at the moment. You know, he's also got this huge impetus behind digital ID, which we're now expecting to come in before the end of the year. And that is a Blair conception. He was desperate to get that through during the last government, but was unsuccessful. So he's attempting again now with this Labour government. So we've got that. We've also got today an intervention on small boats. He's advising that actually you shouldn't grant asylum to everyone who crosses the Channel. And you've got this on the front of the Telegraph. It feels a bit sort of, oh, we've got too much Blair, I think.
Not to mention Gaza, of course, where he's popped up as well.
Yes.
Take us on, though, Eva, to a story inside at the Mail on Sunday. And again, more speculation about how Rachel Reeves might fill this economic black hole, which all the economists are saying is there. Suggestions that property might be a focus.
Yeah, but this is really speculation, and, you know, because we actually really haven't heard anything from government on council tax bans in quite some time, not since Angela Rayner was looking at possibly raising the threshold. But, I mean, she has since departed, and actually her departing speech will be in the Commons this week. We do expect it to be from standing down and Deputy Prime Minister. But, yeah, so this is about whether the bans on council tax should be widened or should be altered. You know, currently the highest council tax band is reported here. Band H applies to properties which were valued at 320. Gosh, do you know what? I'm not going to say it. £300,000, around that, in 1991. And obviously, British property has inflated. You know, we've seen extraordinary growth in property. So a property that was around £400,000 in 91 is now valued at over £2 million. And this has predominantly affected properties around the South East and London. So the Mail are sort of billing this as this is going to be an asset tax on wealthy Southerners, when actually it probably is about time that these bans were moved, you know, in line with the appreciation of these properties.
Well, yes, and she's given some hints, hasn't she, saying that the wealthy will bear the brunt of any tax rises. So does this kind of fit that bill, do you think?
I think it definitely fits the bill. I think what is so fascinating is that they're kind of tying themselves in knots to do anything except just revalue the council tax bands, which has been the problem for a long, long time. The last time they were revalued is 1991. You know, kind of 3 times a year, the Institute for Fiscal Studies comes out and says, this isn't working, this is unfair, this is a regressive tax. And instead, the plan here seems to be to just create a new council tax on top of the existing ones, rather than looking at some of those institutional problems, which means that, you know, a house in Hartlepool pays 3 times the amount of council tax as a house in Kensington in London, for example, or in Westminster. So it does fit the bill of how Rachel Reeves is billing her tax rises, but won't necessarily give the people who've been pushing for council tax reforms that win.
And let's go back to the story that we showed earlier that's also in the Telegraph, which we got jumbled up a little bit there. The Chancellor may raise tax to cut energy bills. So interesting that a lot of the focus is on different groups concerned that they're going to get taxed more. But there is a suggestion that she does want to tackle the cost of living crisis and might try to reduce energy bills for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, energy bills have gone up again, and this is something which will be of concern to households across the country. And this is a report from the Resolution Foundation, which used to be run by Torsten Bell, who is now in the Treasury, which it notes in this piece. And the suggestion is basically to take off some of those energy levies on energy, net zero levies on energy bills and put them into general taxation, so it kind of evens them out in a way that apparently would save middle earners about £40 a year, lowest earners £110 a year, and some of the 25% of earners £350 a year. So again, it's looking at how can the wealthiest, who earn the most amount of money, pay more tax. This would add £4.5 billion a year to the tax burden, which will come with significant political cost for the Chancellor.
Now, we've got about 2 minutes left, and I know that you're both very keen to talk about a story about water and Ian McEwan. Is that too long, or do you want to talk about Brexit before we talk about water?
No, we can
We could do water for 2 minutes.
Let's do it then. This story, just to let people know so that we can put it up, it's in the Times, and the headline is "Obsession with carrying water bottles is a derangement."
Yes.
This is Ian McEwan.
Ian McEwan, who is known for writing Atonement and Enduring Love, many of our most infamous British novels. He is lamenting...
Famous, I'd say, rather than infamous.
Yeah, famous, sorry. Yeah, well, do you know what? It was a little bit of a jibe because some women think that he's a little bit of a misogynist, but I don't agree with that. I actually really love his novels.
I hadn't heard that.
But, you know, anyway, we're not getting into literary critique. So he's talking about the sort of the scourge of the Stanley bottle, which is this sort of like ginormous water bottle that a lot of people now carry around with them. It's an import from America. They cost around like between 50 and 60 pounds.
Who pays that much for a water bottle? That's the thing. And maybe my problem with it is that I would just lose a water bottle, so I would never pay more than kind of a £5, or, to be honest, get one that I get for free in some kind of tote bag at something.
But then maybe if you paid more,
use
you're
it for
more
a
likely
week.
to look after it as a really precious object and you wouldn't lose it.
You say that, but I lose my passport all the time, so, you know.
That's a whole other issue.
You know, so this was our real bone of disagreement, is that I love water in those little boxed cartons. I think they taste really fresh and delicious.
I don't think I've had it.
Have you not? So I think water in boxes and water in, like, cans actually have, like, a really nice freshness to them.
But do you drink a lot of water?
I mean,
yeah,
I drink a lot of water, and I don't feel the need to tote around a water bottle with me. I don't know. I just seem to go to places with taps and cups and the normal way of hydrating oneself.
We didn't have enough time to talk about it. We're out of time. Lovely to see you both.
Thank you.
I witnessed the complete destruction of a place linked to my childhood memories.
This is insane.